are off to our local sacred well where you can bathe in the water. It's supposed to have like healing properties, and these woods before and around the well, but I've not actually been in the well. But I've heard it's very, very cold, so I may get in, I may not. And I've brought my son here with me, but I'm going to keep him off camera because I don't want him to be on the internet. So yeah, let's go explore for this solstice. So as soon as we arrived into the woods, it started pouring down with rain, so we've got our coats on and yeah, making our way up. It's all hill, so yeah. Even though the well was only 5 minutes from the car, it was all uphill and we took the wrong turn and I wondered where the heck we were going, and then we saw it down at the bottom of the hill and we finally reached it. At this point, it was my second time entering the waters because I just wanted to test the water first without holding my phone or recording anything because I wasn't sure how deep it would be. And yes, it was freezing, but it was well worth it. And at the end, I made the decision to fully go for it and I dipped my whole head in, which was freezing. So we just finished at the sacred well and I'm about to leave an offering for using the well and being at a sacred place, which is just a little chakra bracelet that I've had for a long time. So I'm going to place it here and leave it here, and yeah, and then we will be heading back and I'll be having a sit down and we'll chat all about my spiritual practices and how I fit them in as a mother. Just got back, so it's time to grab that cup of tea and then we'll have that chat. Also, whilst out on the trip, I had accidentally dropped my phone. I lost it and was frantically looking everywhere for it in the car, and there was a lovely man that actually helped look for it and we finally found it. We retraced our steps and yes, I was so grateful that it was where I found it. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, my name is Christina and I empower people on their spiritual and healing journey. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, do all those wonderful things and the bell notification, because that will actually notify you when I post a new video, because I post a video every single day and it's my mission to spread my message to as many people as possible and to support people just like you. Let's dive in. So as you can see, hair is still exactly how it was at the sacred well. And I'm just going to come straight on here, to be honest, and record this whilst my son is happily playing, and yeah, and it gives me a chance to do this. So this video, I wanted to share a little bit of how I actually fit my spiritual practices in my life as being a mum, because I didn't become spiritually awake. I didn't practice any kind of spiritual rituals, practices, have any of that knowledge before I had my son, because I didn't wake up. I was spiritually aware of different things, but then I fully woke up when I had my son. So then I had to figure out, well, how am I going to fit in the things that mean a lot to me? Because I really value my spirituality and my spiritual journey. It's a calling, and just that's what I want to do with my life. I want to have spirituality as part of my life. But being a mum, and if you are a mum watching this, you kind of know that it's hard to do anything for yourself sometimes. So I felt inspired to share some things that I do that enables me to kind of balance it. And also sometimes I just have to squeeze things in when I can, because I'm not going to be unrealistic and say like get up at like 4 a.m, which I haven't done, but I just become exhausted. And I think the first thing I'm going to share with you, it's important to understand that motherhood is a spiritual practice by itself. It teaches you patience, it teaches you compassion, it helps you to actually heal your own wounds, because all of your childhood trauma, your crap, your shit from your childhood gets brought to the surface when you have a child, because your child will reflect that back to you. And so you don't really have to do anything when you're a mum. And there are some things that I do that's extra, like meditation, journaling, whatever. There's some things like today I went to that sacred well. And the thing is, I just brought my son along with me. And I think as they get older, it's important for them to understand boundaries. This is a key thing here. If you want to go and have that 10 minutes to go and meditate, it's about having the boundaries and saying, look, this is my time now, then this is your time for independent play. And so when they are playing, or you feel there's that moment, you do some meditation practices. And how I fit this in is actually I meditate when my son goes to bed, because they say like meditate when you wake up in the morning and before you go to bed. Those things do help. But I think as a mother, doing it whenever you feel you can, and that's how I fit in my meditation, my spiritual practices, is when I get a moment with my son is playing, I go and sit and meditate, I go and ground in the garden. And I'll just list some of the things that I actually do as a spiritual person. I meditate, I journal, I ground. Sometimes I do like candle rituals. Sometimes I get my oracle cards out. Not so much that anymore, because I just haven't felt called to. And a lot of these rituals or practices that we do are forms of medicine to be able to us to have a spiritual fulfilled life. And also sometimes we don't need that medicine. So it doesn't matter if you are not meditating every day, if you're not saying your mantras every day. Like, yes, it's okay to be disciplined. I think that will really help you on your spiritual journey, to be disciplined to meditate every single day. But sometimes we just need these as and when. And it's not about like looking for an external thing when we are having a hard time. I'm having a hard time, so I'm going to go and just sit and meditate. It's about using it when you feel called to, when you feel that it is so necessary for you to go and sit in meditation to clear your mind, or whatever ritual you do as a spiritual person. So for me, as a mum, it's not, I don't have anything scheduled out. It's just having boundaries, particularly now he's 3.5, and then doing it as and when I can, because I've got to be realistic here and say I can't do it all. And I probably would benefit from doing a structured schedule and saying, well, this time and this time, because that does create habits. And I have done a schedule before, particularly for my business, and how to fit in me time of doing my business, and then the time for family, time for me and my partner. I scheduled all that out, but for me, for some reason, it just never stuck. Maybe because it wasn't habitual, it didn't end up becoming a habit. So I think when we are struggling to do these things, just know that spirituality can be done in any way. You often think spirituality has to be like meditating every day and being self-disciplined, observing your thoughts and having some practice to go to every single day. I think spirituality, for me personally, it's unique to every single person. So it doesn't matter how it shows up for you, what you do, because that is a unique, sacred thing to you. So if you only meditate twice a week, that's fine. Or if you only journal twice a week, because we are mothers and we have to juggle everything else. And I think it is about having boundaries with your children, but also with your partner, and saying that this is me time. I need this time for self-love, self-care, because that may be part of your spiritual practice. Because I do a lot of sacred dancing in the evenings. This is when my son's asleep. To be honest, I do a lot when my son is actually asleep, because it just works best. Because the other days when he is at the childminder, that's my working days. So I just do things when he's asleep. So in the evenings, I put on some like sensual music, Egyptian music, something that gets me in the mood, and I dance quite a lot, and it gets me into my feminine energy, because the feminine is the evening, the dark, and the masculine is the light. So I do this sometimes before going to bed, and I give myself like 15-20 minutes, and sometimes I'm naked, and this is where I do my mirror work, my practices as well, because I like to do a lot of mirror work, because it helps with healing. It helps us to understand and discover ourselves, because there's no hiding when you're looking at yourself in the mirror. So ultimately, I think the key here is just having the boundaries and doing it as and when, because that's simply what I do, and I find it works really well for me. And it might not work for you. You might benefit from having more of a structured routine throughout the day of, well, in the morning I will be getting up at 5 o'clock to go and meditate, or I will set this time for that, because that does create really good habits when you start doing things at a certain time, because you know that time is allocated for that specific thing. But for me right now, with everything that's going on in my life, and I'm running this business, and yeah, I'm just not able to structure everything. So everything's just right, I'm doing it as and when. The other thing what I recommend you doing as a mother is actually having a sacred space, and that sacred space is just for you. Your children are not allowed to go there. Your partner is not allowed to go there. I set up a sacred space, and it was just a meditation area in the corner of my room, and there was candles around there. I had it was like a little cabinet next to it. I had all my oracle cards in there, my incense, and some candles that get stored in there. And this space was just for me, and this is where we have the boundaries as well, to say this is mummy's special space or place. I cannot allow you to come into my special place, and they might kick off. If it's in another room, it might be a lot easier, but if you've got an open space that children will feel naturally drawn to, because there's all like, oh, little fiddly bits and things to play with if you've got all of your stuff out on display. So I think it's about creating a sacred space, an altar that is just for you, and it's just following through with the boundary. So I hope this has been really helpful for you, because if you believe that you have to have everything figured out as a mother, and that you're wanting to do spiritual practices but you're not finding the time, just know you don't have to have a structured schedule. You don't have to be doing something every day, because motherhood is a spiritual practice itself. It's an initiation, and we are the cosmic wombs that get birth. We birth the babies. We are the feminine. So you are spiritual regardless, but we're all spiritual beings having just a human experience anyway. And the other thing is just doing meditation in front of our child. Let them be a part of it, and let them see, because then you're role modeling the meditation, you're role modeling your spirituality and what actually you really value. And when you're taking care of yourself, this will be shown back to you by your child. Your child may start acting more with compassion. They might start copying you. And so it's important to show them and teach them these kind of practices as well. So don't think you have to go and shut yourself off from somewhere and be totally alone. That is very helpful, don't get me wrong. I haven't actually meditated yet with my son around me. But I've done other things. We do affirmations together in the mirror. We light incense. We go smudging around the house together. He holds the sage and he goes, oh, there's smoke, there's fire, and that. And he really likes that. And I'm going to start introducing a bit more like journaling as these next few years come on. I think it's important to help a child be emotionally intelligent. So a journal will help with that. And I remember when I first went through my spiritual awakening, I would meditate with my son asleep on me. And I had some mystical experiences when my son was asleep on me. And I was just in meditation. I would put some headphones on or connect it to my phone, listen to some like sound baths on YouTube. I would listen to meditation music and I would just get in the zone with that. And so you don't have to find time to do it. It's just doing it when you can and making the most of it. And so I hope this has been really helpful for you. I hope you have a wonderful solstice. Happy summer solstice. Yes, blessings to all. And if you want to dive into how to heal emotional past pain, check out this video next because I talk all about that, and I will see you over there. Much love.